In the dark, we were just snacks. Our eyes couldn't compete with the predators watching from the shadows. Fire changed everything. It carved out a 30-foot sanctuary. Step outside that light, and you were gone. Polly Wiesner went to the Kalahari to find the truth. She studied the Juhaswansi, living the original human lifestyle. Sunlight meant business. 80% of daytime chatter was just logistics, hunting, gathering, and endless work talk. But the moon brought the magic. Suddenly, 81% of talk turned into epic myths and hilarious jokes. That flickering fire was our first classroom and theater. It's where we learned to dream of a bigger world. Then Roger Ekirch dropped a bombshell. We weren't built for one long sleep. Our ancestors did it differently. He found over 500 clues. First sleep and second sleep were everywhere in history, from diaries to prayers. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent years with the Juhaswansi Bushmen, uncovering a secret hidden in their talk. By day, 80% of talk was work.
Who's hunting? Where are the plants?
It was all business. But at night, everything changed. 81% of their talk became stories, myths, and jokes. The campfire was our first theater and classroom. It's where we learned to imagine things that don't exist. But the night wasn't just for stories. Historian Roger Ekirch discovered we weren't meant to sleep like we do now. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiesner published a study on the Juhaswansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert. She found that during the day, 80% of conversations were practical, about hunting, plants, and logistics. But at night, the tone shifted. 81% of firelight talk was dedicated to stories, myths, and legends. Wiesner argues that this firelight conversation is where human culture was truly born. The campfire was our first theater, classroom, and church. It's where we learned to imagine the future. Polly Wiesner spent years in the Kalahari. She discovered a shocking truth about how our ancestors actually talked. Daytime was for work and logistics, but at night, 81% of the conversation turned into epic storytelling. Myths, adventures, and jokes that made the whole camp roar. This firelight chatter is where human culture began. The campfire was our first theater and classroom. It's where we learned to dream of things yet to exist. But the night held another secret. Believe it or not, you weren't designed to sleep in one long block. Historian Roger Ekirch spent 16 years digging through the past. He found a pattern we've completely forgotten today. Across 500 historical records, he found the same thing. First sleep and second sleep were the norm. From medieval prayer books to personal diaries, everyone described waking up in the fallen of night as normal. Scientists recently rediscovered a secret about our past. You weren't actually designed to sleep in one long 8-hour block. In 2001, historian Roger Ekirch changed everything. He spent 16 years digging through thousands of ancient historical records. He found over 500 references to a forgotten rhythm, from medieval prayer books to personal diaries and medical texts. They all mention the same thing: first sleep and second sleep. This was the standard way humans rested for centuries. People would sleep for 4 hours after sunset, then wake up. They weren't restless. Their bodies were just following nature. They stayed awake for an hour or two in the deep night. Then, they'd fall back into a second deep sleep. This wasn't a disorder like insomnia. It was the normal rhythm for every single human on the planet for millennia. So, what did our ancestors actually do during those quiet midnight hours? The answer is absolutely everything. A 16th century French physician even suggested that couples conceive children during this midnight window to do it better. People visited neighbors, interpreted their dreams while they were fresh, or simply lay in the dark and thought. They wrote, they prayed, and they enjoyed a unique clarity of mind that we've completely lost today. A 1500s manual advised that the best time to study and reflect was during the watch. Historians read these references for centuries, but they kept translating first sleep as something else entirely. They couldn't imagine that people ever slept differently than we do now. The modern bias was just too deep. Translators literally mistranslated ancient Greek and medieval Latin to force history to fit their own modern experience. But then, science finally stepped in to confirm exactly what the historical records had been saying all along. In 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Ware at the National Institute of Mental Health ran a groundbreaking experiment. He took volunteers and removed all artificial light. For 1 month, they lived in 14 hours of darkness every night. Within weeks, every single person settled into the same pattern. 4 hours of sleep, a quiet wakeful period, then 4 more. Ware measured their hormones and found elevated prolactin, the same chemical released during meditation. They felt incredibly peaceful. It wasn't just a gap in sleep. It was a distinct state of consciousness that modern humans have completely lost. So, what defeat this ancient rhythm? The answer is simple: light. In the 1600s, cities began installing street lamps. Paris was one of the first under Louis XIV. He wanted to reduce crime by flooding the night with light. London followed. The night, once a place of tension, slowly became navigable. But our internal clocks were about to break. Modern humans face artificial light for hours after sunset. This blue light from our screens suppresses melatonin production. Your brain can't tell a light bulb from the sun. Light at 11 p.m. tricks your mind into thinking it's daytime. This delays melatonin release and fragments your sleep, breaking a circadian rhythm that evolved over millions of years. But there's hope. Just 1 week of camping without artificial light can reset your body's internal clock completely. Melatonin cycles shift back by nearly 2 hours, starting at sunset instead of late into the night. 300,000 years of biological programming reasserts itself. We didn't just change sleep, we lost a phase of consciousness. What we call insomnia might be our bodies remembering that quiet, reflective state between first and second sleep. We traded the stars and our inner peace for a light switch. Perhaps it's time to remember the dark.